Welcome to Guyana News Updates. In a tragic event that has deeply affected the community, the investigation into the death of 11-year-old Adriana Younge has reached a significant milestone. Her body was discovered on April 24, 2025, in the swimming pool of the Doubleday International Hotel. Adriana, of mixed ancestry, was reportedly last seen by her grandmother in the same pool at approximately 1:01 p.m. on April 23, 2025. Upon learning of the incident, the Guyana police force initiated a thorough investigation. They have since confirmed that Adriana Younge's death has been officially ruled a drowning. According to the final postmortem report submitted by 3 internationally renowned pathologists, there were no signs of foul play. This conclusion aligns with an earlier assessment by Mr. Leonard McCaution, a retired Royal Canadian Mounted Police investigator, who stated that there is no evidence of foul play by persons named or unnamed during the investigation. A comprehensive postmortem examination, including toxicology and DNA testing, was conducted. Key findings from the pathologists indicated no signs of acute injury or trauma, toxicology results consistent with postmortem decomposition, and negative results from the sexual assault kit and DNA analysis of potential suspects. Skin and airway changes were consistent with prolonged submersion and drowning, and no evidence of restraint, struggle, or the removal and return of the body was found. The pathologists concluded that Adriana Younge drowned, likely sinking and later surfacing due to natural decomposition processes. While the child's family raised several concerns, citing her ability to swim and suggesting the possibility of sexual assault, forced drowning elsewhere, and ritualistic activity, these concerns were taken seriously and thoroughly investigated in collaboration with forensic experts. However, the findings did not support these possibilities. Detectives are currently preparing the investigative case file for submission to the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, for review and legal opinion. The Guyana Police Force extends its heartfelt condolences to the Younge family. Stay informed on this and other important stories. Please subscribe to the Guyana News Updates YouTube channel for ongoing coverage and the latest information as this case progresses. The podcast begins now.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking into the official findings around the very sad death of 11-year-old Adriana Younge back in April 2025.
That's right. We've got the final postmortem report here, compiled by 3 international pathologists.
And we also have that earlier report from Leonard McCaution, the retired RCMP investigator.
Exactly. So our aim really is to understand what the official conclusion was regarding how Adriana died and, what evidence actually supports that.
Okay, let's dive in. So Adriana Younge, she was last seen at the Doubleday International Hotel swimming pool. That was around, 1:01 p.m. on April 23rd, 2025?
Yes, about that time. And then, tragically, she was found deceased in that very same pool the next morning, April 24th.
And the main finding, what did the final report actually say?
The primary conclusion from that final postmortem report was drowning. And critically, it stated very clearly, no signs of foul play.
No signs of foul play.
Okay.
And that matched the earlier report, too.
It did, yes. It corroborated McCaution's findings. He'd also concluded there was no evidence of foul play by persons named or unnamed during the investigation.
Right. Now, the Guyana Police Force, they did launch a full investigation, didn't they? Because the family had some serious concerns.
Oh, absolutely. Understandably so. They raised questions about her swimming ability, and there were really serious allegations mentioned. Things like sexual assault, maybe being drowned somewhere else and moved, even talk of ritualistic activity.
Wow. So how did the investigation and these reports address those specific concerns? That's a lot to look into.
They were quite specific, actually. The reports show a real collaborative effort, bringing in forensic specialists to meticulously investigate every single one of those possibilities. Right. And that led to a very, very detailed post-mortem examination. The goal was clearly to use the physical evidence to either, confirm or completely rule out those concerns.
And what did that exam turn up? Any key details jump out?
Several key things. First, no acute injuries. No signs of trauma on her body at all.
Okay, no trauma. What about toxicology?
Good question. They did find ethanol, but, and this is important, the levels were consistent with postmortem decomposition.
So something that happens naturally after death, not from drinking alcohol before.
Exactly. It's a known byproduct as the body breaks down, not indicative of recent consumption.
Got it. Yeah. And the other allegations, like sexual assault?
They addressed that directly. The sexual assault kit came back negative, and DNA analysis looking for potential suspects was also negative.
So the forensic evidence didn't support those specific claims.
Correct. It really highlights how forensic science can, provide objective answers even when things are incredibly emotional and difficult.
Absolutely. What else did the physical examination show?
Well, the changes they observed on her skin and in her airways, they were all described as consistent with being submerged in water for a prolonged period, consistent with drowning.
And crucially, I remember reading there was no sign of a struggle or being restrained.
Precisely. No evidence of restraint, no sign of a struggle, and nothing to suggest her body had been moved after she died.
Okay, so if you put all that evidence together, the lack of trauma, the toxicology, the negative DNA, the signs of submersion, what was the final conclusion from the pathologists?
Their conclusion was that Adriana Younge died by drowning.
Just drowning?
Yes. And their assessment of the situation was that she likely sank after drowning, stayed submerged, and then resurfaced.
Resurfaced. Why would that happen?
It's due to the natural decomposition process, especially in a warm tropical climate. The body produces gases as it decomposes, and those gases can eventually make it buoyant enough to float back to the surface.
I see. So based purely on the forensic evidence presented in these reports, it points towards a tragic accident.
According to these expert findings, yes. That's the conclusion they reached.
So what happens now? What are the next steps in the official process?
Well, the investigative case file containing all this information is being put together. It's going to be submitted to the Director of Public Prosecution.
For review, I assume.
Exactly. It's a standard legal step just to ensure the investigation was thorough, followed procedure, and that the conclusions are sound from a legal standpoint.
And the police also put out a statement, right?
They did, yes. The Guyana Police Force extended condolences to the Young family, which is, of course, appropriate. And they also stressed their commitment to transparency and seeking justice in the case.
Okay. So wrapping this up then.
Yeah.
Our deep dive into these official reports on Adriana Younge's death really shows the conclusion was drowning, with no forensic evidence found to support any foul play.
Correct. And it seems, based on the reports, like it was a pretty thorough investigation that made a point of addressing those very difficult concerns raised by the family.
Yeah. It does bring up a wider point, doesn't it? About how we have to rely on this kind of detailed expert analysis when trying to understand such awful events.
It really does. The conclusions might be incredibly hard for the family and loved ones to hear or even accept, but these kinds of investigations aim to provide the most objective picture possible based on the available evidence.
It certainly makes you think about the importance of trusting that expert analysis, even when the reality it reveals is just deeply, deeply upsetting. Thanks for walking through these reports with me.
Of course. It's important to understand the official findings.